Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito, and fresh salad days are here again. So how does lettuce grow? Well, you got to start with some seeds, and then we plant them in these little grow pots. And the seeds are then put under grow lights, and then you meticulously watch them. And my husband does all of this. And when they're at this stage, now they're ready to plant. And of course, lettuce needs to be planted in cool weather, not hot weather, because it is not a hot weather crop. So once you get to this stage, you are ready to put them in the ground. So once you do, you have what's called pazienza, and you wait. And then nature rewards you, because look what we have here. This is really one of my very favorite lettuces. Every year I tell my husband Gaetano, did you plant freckles? This is called freckles. It's a romaine type lettuce. And you can see why it's called freckles, because of all of those beautiful little rust dots on the leaves. A lot of people shy away from this thinking, well, is it fresh? Yes, it's not any fresher than this. And these are ready to pick. They look like bouquets of flowers. They're beautiful. And then moving on down, because we like to plant a lot of Italian varieties, here we have something called canasta. And it has a little frilly leaf around the edge. And these are ready to harvest as well. And you see they're all planted on black plastic, and that's so that we don't have to weed. And underneath are soaker hoses to keep everything kind of moist. And here we have something that's a beautiful lettuce. This is something called 4 seasons. I don't know why, because you really can't plant lettuce in 4 seasons, but it is beautiful. And we have this mixture of lettuces because they look gorgeous in a salad bowl. You don't want just one lettuce all the time. And if you planted your own lettuces, you would have a great variety of them, much better than what you would have in the grocery store. Plus, there are no pesticides on this. Here we have a type of bib lettuce. That's something that everybody knows, and you can find that in your grocery store, or you can find it in your farmer's market. And it's beautiful. And then over here is one of my very favorites, right down at the end. This is something called lingua di canario, which means canary tongue. I don't know why, because it certainly doesn't have a tongue shape, but it reminds me of an oak leaf type of lettuce. And that is also wonderful in the salad bowl. So these should be harvested in an early spring, because they bolt when the weather gets hot. And then what you have to do is you have to do a second planting. And that's why you saw me with that beautiful tray of seedlings, because once this is harvested, then we plant the second crop. So let me get a head of this lettuce to put in our salad bowl. Now look at this head. Isn't this beautiful? And it's starting to head up. Look there, right in the center. And look at how fresh and fragile actually these leaves are. So I'm going to go right down and take that right through. I do. Yes, I do. Look at that. You could carry that as a wedding bouquet. And it still has its root system. So take all the dirt off of this, and then you want to sit this just like this in a bowl of cold, cold water. And when we're making salad in the kitchen, I'm going to give you a few tricks about what do you do with limp lettuce leaves. I learned that trick from Gaetano, who of course planted all of this. But this is gorgeous, and I think now it's time for you and I to go nella cucina to make some wonderful Italian-type salads. Now that you've been in the garden and you've seen all the different kinds of lettuces that we grow in the Ciao Italia garden, I'm going to make some really neat salads for you today. So let me give you a little tour of things you could use in a salad. I'm not saying that you have to use these exact ones, but here is romaine lettuce. And it's nice to buy it when it's really crispy and it's a tight head. So romaine you can find in the grocery store. And you want to just take the leaves apart, wash them and dry them before you put them in your salad bowl, because otherwise the dressing will not adhere to it at all. We're going to add some fennel, which is a typical Italian vegetable that's always in a salad and is often just eaten by itself as a digestivo, something just to settle your stomach after you've eaten a big meal. And we're going to add this, radicchio. Radicchio is becoming very, very popular now. Not so much popular long ago because people didn't know what to do with this. So this can be used raw in a salad. In Italy, they even grill this and eat it as a side dish. It has a slightly bitter taste, but it also adds nice color to the salad. And then we're going to add some fresh spinach. So we have some fresh spinach leaves here that have all been cleaned. But then we're going to kind of dress the salad up a little bit and add some figs. Aren't they gorgeous? Now, I do have a fig tree. However, the figs are just starting to come, and I've got to water it every day to make sure I get them by September. But if you don't have access to fresh figs, you could always use dried figs. These are dried figs. You can buy them in the grocery store. I would plump them up in a little bit of warm water first because they tend to be very hard when you buy them in the store. So these have been sitting in water for just, a half hour or so. So those are the components to our salad. But first, let's make the dressing. So in a bowl, we want to add some extra virgin olive oil. I would say about 1/4 of a cup. I just kind of eyeball because in Italy everything is a piacere or quanto basta. Some salt, as much as you want. Some red wine vinegar, about 2 tablespoons, I would say. You want some dry mustard, and the reason we're using this is because this helps to make an emulsion, to thicken the dressing. So about 1 teaspoon of that goes in. And with it, we want honey. So about 2 tablespoons of honey into our dressing. It's always really best to make your own dressings instead of getting bottled dressings, which have a lot of other stuff in them. All right, so you just whisk this up. And I like to make this early in the day so that it just kind of sits around and absorbs all the flavors. And you just set that aside now. So we're going to put that over to the side and work with our greens. So we're going to got about 1 cup of spinach leaves here, fresh and dried. And then we want some of that romaine, and we just want to tear that. And you hear that crunch? That tells me this is pretty fresh lettuce. You got to really be careful when you buy lettuces because sometimes they're very soft because they've been sprayed so often in the grocery store. So that's why it's always nice to have your own lettuces, and that's why we grow them in the garden. And then we want some fennel. Let me move this out of the way because now you know what this is. So here's our fennel. And just take off that bottom core area, and then you just want to do some thin slices, real thin slices. And this has a nice licorice flavor. It's delicious just by itself, but it's going to play off nicely against the figs. Sometimes I stay up at night just thinking, what goes together. So that goes in there. And if you want to, you can put in some of these feathery fronds, which is also nice. You don't have to, but let's put them in anyway. Adds a little color, a little flavor to the salad. And then we want our radicchio. So here's our radicchio. I take the outer leaves off because sometimes they tend to be a bit brown, but don't throw these away. You can use these in soup. And then I just cut this down. See how pretty that looks inside? Beautiful. Has a slightly bitter taste. It is in the chicory family. I'm just going to slice it into strips. It's about a cup. Shred it. And just mix it. My hands are clean. Okay, so now that we have that, throw that in. We want to work with these figs. So here are our figs. And you want to take that little stem off the top, but please don't peel them. The peel, the skin, is part of the beauty of the fig. And you just want to cut them down, see? And cut them in quarters. So for this salad, I like about 8 fresh figs cut into quarters. So here's our salad, all ready to go. And when you make a salad like this, that's when you eat it. You don't wait. So here's our dressing. Pour that right over the top. And when you make a salad, you want to make sure that you have a good ratio of lettuce greens to the dressing. Because if you have too much dressing, that really drowns the salad, and you don't want that. So now we want to toss this. And if you see that you have dressing in the bottom of the salad bowl, that's another tip-off that you have used too much dressing. You just want the dressing to lightly coat these leaves. Uniformly coat them, but lightly coat them so that there is no, see, you don't see any dressing in the bottom of that bowl. That was the perfect amount for this. Okay, now we can scoop up these delicate figs and add them to the salad bowl. I like this particularly after I'm doing a chicken or a fish dinner because this has nice clean taste to it. It's sweet and it's sour at the same time. All right, now we can plate that. So let me move this aside and get our salad dish. I like to do this on a platter so everybody can see it and admire it. So here's our platter. And just take the greens and place them right there. Now you could add nuts to this as well. Almonds would be great with this. Walnuts. It's a great luncheon thing if you want to serve it just as a lunch entree. Look at how pretty that is. Thank you, Gaetano, for growing all those beautiful greens in the garden because this is just too gorgeous. So there you have it. Fennel and fig with lettuce greens. The next salad is full of beans, and I mean cannellini beans. So these are cannellini beans, and if you've ever been in Tuscany, you know that they like to use a lot of beans in Tuscany, especially cannellini beans. So you can buy them in a jar like this, see? They come in a jar, or you could get the dried ones, soak them in water, cook them, and then you'd have the fresh, which are always better. But, you know, people don't have a lot of time these days. So when you get them in a jar like this, you want to really rinse these off well, because they're in this water that is kind of thick and syrupy. So those are the cannellini beans, and we have them here in our bowl. But by themselves, they're pretty bland, so I like to do something with them. So thinking in that same Tuscan vein, I thought, hey, how about we put some salumi, some Tuscan salumi with it, like a sopressata. And I have some here. So this actually was inspired by my friend Patty Fortuna, whose company is in Vermont. And Patty and I have done shows before, so they make all kinds of salumi without nitrates. So this is a very natural product. So I thought, well, I'm going to use her salumi in this, but you can use any salumi that you want. And by salumi, I mean a dried sausage product. So this is a dried sausage product, and there's a little skin around the outside that you have to take off, see? And then just, you know, dice it up. Small pieces. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Oh, looks good. So they go in. I thought, well, how about we add some sun-dried tomatoes? So Patty made the sausage, I made the tomatoes, and here they are. So when I make tomatoes in oil, I take my plum tomatoes from the garden and I dry them, see, in a dehydrator. Now, believe it or not, these are tomatoes from 2016, yeah. and they are beautiful. So in the wintertime, I have these delicious tomatoes, but what happens when I put them on the dehydrator is that it really concentrates that flavor, the sugar in the tomatoes. So I've diced them up here, and I'm going to add, you want about a half a cup of the tomatoes. Now you can start to see that this is really going to taste good. So I'm just going to mix that around a little bit because we want to make a dressing for that. Okay. Now, for the dressing, I like to use a very mild onion for this. You could use just a regular onion if you want to, but I think a shallot is really good for this. I grow these in my garden too, but you know, you can buy them in the grocery store. And yes, they are expensive. So you just want to take, and they're slippery, so you got to be careful. You want to just dice up some shallot, small shallot. And we want to put that in a bowl. Stick it in a bowl because we're going to mix this with our salad ingredients. Our dressing rather. So here's the rest of this. Boy, this really gets me in the eyeballs when I do this. Any kind of onion just kind of makes me cry. Okay, then we want garlic. So here we have a fresh garlic clove. We just want to smash that and mince that well. Add that to the shallot. And with this, I think fresh mint is really nice. So we've got the flavor of the salumi, we've got those sprightly tomatoes, we've got the sausage, the salumi, and we've got some fresh mint. So just dice that up. Please don't use dried herbs for this. The only dried herb I keep telling you that I ever use is oregano. But for everything else, I use fresh herbs because fresh herbs have their oils intact. So that goes in there. And then I'm going to give this a pinch of salt, a little bit of pepper, just a, I don't need much because I already have all of this sprightly stuff. Okay, and then we want to add some olive oil. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil or so. That's about 2 tablespoons. And about 2 tablespoons of a good red wine vinegar. That looks about right. Just a smidge more. Okay, you whisk that all up. And then we just pour it. Now, you could serve this as is, just like this, but I like to do it over crusty bread. Makes a nice lunch. And it's better if you make this early in the day to allow all of these flavors to just mingle together. This is, I can't tell you how good this is, and it really dresses up a dull cannellini bean. So let me plate that for you. You can see how that goes. It's a great picnic item too, because it won't wilt. Okay. Doesn't that look delicious? A cannellini bean to be proud of in a salad. Look at this beautiful little hearts of romaine. It's nice and crispy and firm, and it's perfect for this fun salad that I'm going to make called Little Gem. And it's called Little Gem because if you use small hearts of romaine, that's what they call it, a little gem salad. So you can buy the hearts of romaine in a package, or you can get a head of romaine, take off the outer leaves until you get to the real center part, where the leaves start to get a little lighter green in color. And then you are at the hearts of romaine. So what we want to do with this is cut this in half, right down the center. Okay? And you see how beautiful that looks. Now, one of these is a serving. So if you want to I'm going to make the dressing to serve 4. So you would need 2 of these Little Gem romaine. But I'm going to just do it for 2 right now. I'll make the dressing for 4, but you can see just 2 on the platter. So here we put them on a platter, just like that. so we don't have to rip them apart or anything. And we let them sit there, and we make a nice dressing for this. So for it, we want some parsley. Got to cut that up a little bit, so you want to mince up some parsley. Or you could use basil if you wanted to for this, but I like parsley better for this. So there's our parsley. And then you want some spring onions. So here's some spring onion. You just cut those into little tiny, tiny, tiny pieces. Oh, about 2 tablespoons or so. If you like more, just add more. That's enough. In that goes. I love this as a special salad to serve to company because it's unusual. They're not expecting it. You know, they're expecting tomatoes and cucumbers and red peppers, that kind of thing. So now we're going to add about a tablespoon of confectioner's sugar, and we want a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And you're saying sugar? Who puts sugar in a dressing? Well, believe it or not, this really just adds a little something different to this salad. So mix that up. I want to dissolve that sugar. And then we want a mild vinegar, so like a white balsamic vinegar or a rice wine vinegar would do well in this. And you mix that all around. And you give that just a little pinch of salt. And I'm going to save the pepper for later on. So let me show you how this goes. So now we have our little gem salads. Let me get a spoon for this now. And each one of these is a serving. So you would just sprinkle or spread some of that dressing over the cut side of the little gem salad. It's fun to eat because now you're wondering, well, how do I attack this? Well, you attack it with a fork and a knife. Beautiful. But we're not done. And then we give it just some cracked black pepper, like that. And then we add this Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Remember, that's that wonderful cow's milk cheese that comes from the region of Emilia-Romagna. And we just want to shave some pieces over the top, just like that. Now, who wouldn't want to eat this? This is really different. And when you do the cheese, I would do it when it's still a bit cold. So, never eat plain romaine again when you can eat little gem. The next time you're thinking about making salad, think about these salads. They're a bit unusual, but they're really, really good. And we started right here with making that fennel and fresh fig salad with a variety of greens. We used romaine, spinach, radicchio. We put a beautiful dressing over it, and it's perfect as a luncheon entree or if you want to eat it as a side after dinner. And then I took you to Tuscany because cannellini beans are a favorite with Tuscans, and we made this beautiful salad with cannellini beans, with salumi, and with a good olive oil and vinegar dressing. And we added my own sun-dried tomatoes. And then here is one of my all-time favorites, and there's very little work involved to this, little gem. Remember, we used the hearts of romaine, and then we made a simple dressing with a little bit of sugar, olive oil, some spring onions. And it's all ready for the eating with a shaving of Parmigiano Reggiano over the top. So, there you have it. Salads to ponder.